Welcome to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. Join us as we review our favorite RPGs, collectible card games, MMOs, video games, PC games, and bring up interesting topics and things that we'd like to share with everyone. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim and Kelly here from the Creative Play and Podcast Network. It's the next day, August 9th. So for RPGADay Challenge, it is August 9th. Beyond the game.
What's involved in an ideal session? Well, for me, it's the friends, the socializing, and I like having snacks. I'm sorry, I do, even if they're healthy snacks. It's just something about being around the table, a group of people, having a little nosh, and I always like to, I'll have that diet soda that day. You're supposed to just water. It's like I get to treat myself. Not only do I get to treat myself to the games, I'm going to treat myself to treats. I'm going to have diet soda. And I'm going to have, I'll have that Slim Jim. Processed meats, yum.
This episode brought to you by Slim Jim and Diet Coke and Dr. Pepper.
I prefer the diet root beer, but yeah.
Diet A&W.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. Yeah, I definitely got to agree. One of the big things that's involved in a game session is breaking bread. Whether it's eating pizza with your friends, having burgers that you brought to the game session, the eating aspect and snacking aspect is definitely something of the community. You're at the table gaming with friends, which makes it a close thing.
Well, and like with our group, sometimes we'll all go to lunch afterwards. The
fun keeps going.
Exactly. So and it's interesting because then we'll be at sushi or something, and we'll be like recapping all the crazy shit that happened during the game.
The storytelling aspect.
Like after Riona saved Sister Solis's life, and I'm like, oh, thank you, man. I really like that character. It would have sucked to have to, It's like she's got so much backstory you guys have never even heard. I do, actually.
You need to start working on those, doing some of those as little one-shot podcast episodes.
No, because then people will know.
Wow.
Because I don't want the group to know yet.
Then put it on Patreon.
It's fodder for you. That was all created for you, for fodder. Just like with Scion, I create all this extra, it's like this backstory that you can just, I'm going to throw this in just to fuck with people.
So you got to not be selfish.
No.
So when it also comes to beyond just the game, I think you do need a little structure. You need a time frame of when it starts and when it should stop. And definitely as a GM, you need a plan for your game session. The GM has to have, this is what we're going to do. Now, it doesn't have to be fleshed out 100%. It can be 12% of a plan.
That's barely a concept.
But at least 12% of a plan, because that way when you're player, you have something in mind. So when the players go off on a complete tangent, which often happens, you can at least roll with the storyline so you keep going. Roll with the storyline. So at least I would say a structured start and stop time. Stop time, of course, is always loose. You can always go loosey-goosey and go overwards, but except like when we're at Tucson Games and Gadgets.
Yeah, because we have a hard stop.
We reserve the room for a hard stop time.
Yeah.
As well as some kind of concept of what everyone's going to do when they sit down and start gaming.
Okay, well then on that note, I would have to say one thing that's beyond the game itself, that for an ideal session is to have a GM that is flexible enough to roll with it. Because, there's, others not,
They're a little too stuck on the storyline.
or they put in so much effort into one specific storyline, and then you're just basically railroaded into, and the characters, you're not, it stifles the players. But of course, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
We don't want to get too far.
That don't want to play the game.
You get the too far afield. So I guess flexibility on both the GM and the player's part to say, take the hint, players. I need you to kind of go this way.
The big giant sign pointing to danger or to the prairie of happiness.
Have the GM who's able to, I have a group of murdering hobos that all of a sudden are actually thinking their way through this as opposed to killing their way.
Shit moment when that happens.
Yeah.
Oh God, they got their shit together. I'm not prepared for this.
Exactly. So, whether you change your shorts or just roll with it.
And remember, as a GM, it's okay to give your players a synopsis of, hey guys, here's what we're doing, here's what's going to happen, here's what you believe is going to go in character. Like, Fate System's really good about that. When you world build, the players know the skinny. They know what's going on in the world.
Yeah, well,
the characters don't, but the players do at least.
Yeah, we have a better understanding of the political and social dynamics of the world that we're in, as opposed to being just dropped into a dungeon.
Yeah. So that way, when you tell your playing group you go after Jack the Ripper, they're not going after every sign of werewolf they think is out there. They're sticking on the storyline that is Jack the Ripper. So,
yeah, because we could very well have a werewolf in the party.
Yeah, so definitely food and drink, good friends. Good friends to game with, because good friends are always to game with.
Flexible gaming and flexibility.
I apologize for our new puppy, Freya, who is eating her squeaky toy right now and going crazy on it because we locked her out of the room.
Yeah.
So, good food and drinks, good friends, a good idea to a game session, and a good idea on the start and stop time.
And you know what? I have to say one more thing.
What's that?
And players who are willing to role play.
Yeah.
As opposed to just,
Players who are willing to put on their character's skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that way you can get immersed in it.
To me, that makes it very interesting.
Okay, role playing and cosplay aren't that different.
No.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you for listening. That was day 9, Beyond the Game, and what's involved in an ideal session. And thank you for listening. Hey gamers, Jim here from Creative Play and Podcast Network. If you're in the Tucson area this September and October, I've got a special message for you.
Hey, this is Karen from RinCon. We are having our convention from September 30th through October 2nd here in Tucson, Arizona. Come out and play every kind of game under the sun with us. We've got role-playing, board games, minifigs, CCGs, we've got Artemis, we have panels with special guests, and this year the theme is steampunk. So get out your, dust off your dirigibles, get out your chapeaus and put them on, come on down.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition, and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.